Hi, welcome back to our series on making money with a small-scale beekeeping operation. I'm Josh Harris with Queen & Colony, and in this second part of the series, I'm going to focus on how to start and grow a small beekeeping business. Now, my first piece of advice would be to start small and focus on growing as a beekeeper before you focus on growing a business. Beekeeping is a very unique skill set. It's something that takes time, it takes experience to figure out how to keep these beautiful creatures, these amazing creatures, happy and healthy. And so as you grow as a beekeeper, you're going to find that your bees are going to be more healthy, they're going to be more productive, and they're going to increase. With beekeeping, it seems like you're either losing colonies, they're crashing from disease or whatever it may be, or you're gaining colonies and they're wanting to swarm, and so you're making splits and you're gaining more colonies. And I think the best way to increase is to grow your own bees, increase your own bees. If you're able to gain colonies from your own operation, you will grow in your skill level as you gain colonies and you'll be able to maintain them. A common mistake that's made is that beekeepers want to scale up, and so they just go out and they buy a bunch of colonies and their skill level isn't up to par, and those colonies end up crashing and that investment turns into a tremendous loss. And so my first advice would be start small, grow your beekeeping skill level, and as you grow your skill level, grow your colonies with that. Secondly, learn to successfully manage bee colonies where you are at. Beekeeping varies a lot from location to location. Even in my area, in the different yards that I keep bees, I have to learn to manage each yard a little bit differently. And especially if I go farther away from this area, my techniques can have to change a lot in order to have healthy, productive colonies. And so learn to manage bees in your area. And a great resource for this is to find someone who's been doing it in your area for a long time. Find a mentor and start to learn from them, and give them a hand in their operation, and have somebody that you can call when things are going wrong. And it can be a tremendous help just to have a network of beekeepers in your area that can help each other. Another thing about learning your area is to learn your nectar flows. There's each area will have unique nectar flows, times of the year where the plants tend to produce a lot of nectar, and your bees begin to grow on that nectar and they begin to make honey at times. And so as you learn your nectar flows, you can begin to anticipate those nectar flows and manage your bees to maximize their potential on those nectar flows. Feeding is something that I incorporate into my operation, and I don't feed my bees because they're starving and dying. I always leave enough honey on them for them to have more than they need to eat. But bees don't build up on honey. Honey is more of a survival food. Bees build up on nectar. And so at certain times when I want my bees to grow, when I want those queens to start picking up their laying, and I want the bees to draw out fresh wax and make new combs, I will feed them a sugar syrup 1-to-1 ratio, and it mimics a nectar flow, and those bees will build up on it. So if I know that I want to make splits in March, I'm going to start feeding my bees in about January so that they start building up early, and I have a lot more bees to make those splits off of. Or if I'm bringing my bees to an early nectar flow like orange blossom at the end of February, I would begin to feed my bees in December or January so that those queens pick up their laying, so that by the time I bring the bees to the nectar flow, the colony is at full strength and they're able to make honey. Otherwise, a lot of times your colony is weak, it's small because there's been no nectar coming in. They get on a nectar flow, they use that whole nectar flow to build up to full strength, and by the time they're strong enough to make honey, the nectar flow's over. And so you didn't maximize their potential. Now, for me personally, that's something that I do, is I feed my bees at times in order to maximize their potential. And then mite and pest control. The varroa mite, in my experience, is the #1 issue I face with my bees' health. When I first started beekeeping, I thought, hey, they're not that much of an issue. I listened to a lot of people talking about treatment-free beekeeping, and I thought, man, that sounds really great because it was easy. But the reality is I had mites, the mites got out of control, the viruses hit, my bees crashed, and I learned pretty quickly that I had to pay mind to these mites, otherwise my bees were not going to be healthy. And so for me, a few things that I really focus on is I monitor mite levels. I treat with various different treatments, and I rotate those treatments. I hit those mites hard. I feed my bees when they need to be fed, when I want to grow them. And I split my bee colonies before they swarm. And so those three things, if you are on top of your mite levels, if you're keeping your bees well nourished, and if you're making splits when they're doing well, those are the three most important things you can do to grow your beekeeping operation and to keep your bees healthy and productive. And then knowing your seasons. Here in Florida, we don't have much seasons to talk about, but up north especially, winter is a major deal. And learning how to overwinter your bees so that they have their best chance of survival and coming through the next spring healthy. And so once again, having a mentor, having someone in your area that you can learn from how they do it best will pay off in the long run for sure. And then thirdly, identify revenue sources from your bees. Now, if you're doing a small scale beekeeping operation, one of the most obvious would be honey. Selling local honey to people in your area. And then there's other products like beeswax products, pollen, propolis, pollination services, selling nucleus colonies, selling queens, bee removal services, education. And there's a lot of different opportunities for revenue sources from your bees. And so I would say it's good to diversify, pursue different avenues of revenue, but not to spread yourself too thin. And as you diversify and you try a lot of different areas of what's profitable, over time you can look back and see, hey, what is most profitable and what is sort of a waste of time? And then you can begin to narrow down what you are going to pursue as far as revenue from your bees. Most profitable is a major factor for me, but also most enjoyable. I started beekeeping not because I just wanted to make money from it. I didn't start to make money at all. I started because I enjoy beekeeping. It's a passion of mine. And then as I transitioned into a sideline business and then full time, I said, I want to turn a passion into a business and make a living doing something I enjoy. And so what I enjoy is a major factor in what I choose to do as a beekeeper and as a business. For example, in my area, we have Africanized honeybees, we have a lot of feral bees, and there is a big market for doing bee removal services. And there's a lot of money to be made if that was pursued. Personally, I do not enjoy doing bee removals. I do not enjoy dealing with Africanized bees. I like things that are more controlled. I like being a queen breeder. I like raising gentle bees that I know how they're going to act. I don't like the bee removal side of it. But I do it because I need the money right now, but I'm trying to pursue other avenues so I can work myself out of doing something I don't enjoy. And so I would say what's profitable and what's enjoyable are good measurements for what you're going to pursue as far as revenue sources from your bees. And then as you grow as a beekeeper, your reputation is going to grow. Other beekeepers in your area are going to notice you have healthy, strong colonies, you have good bees, and you're going to find you have more opportunities from people wanting to learn from you. Whether that's doing consultations or doing classes, beekeeping classes in your area, selling nucleuses, selling queens. And so putting your bees first, putting the health of your bees first is so important. When the pandemic first hit, and a lot of the stores that sold our honey closed, our sales went down, our business went down, and people would ask me, how's your business doing? And my response would usually be something like, well, business is terrible, but my bees are doing great. Even when business wasn't good, I would have more time to go out and work my bees to keep them healthy so that when things turned around, my bees were ready to go. And so that would be some advice I would give on starting and growing a beekeeping operation would be first focus on growing as a beekeeper. Put your bees first and then let the business follow that. And so for our next episode, I'm going to be going into more detail on the actual marketing of your honeybee products and the marketing of your business. And so stay tuned. We're going to get that episode out soon. Thanks for following along. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you again soon.